Good evening. I'm Simone Sanders Townsend, and we begin this hour with the Trump administration continuing to defy the courts. But the courts, folks, they are fighting back. Today, the Trump administration got a major rebuke in the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man it mistakenly deported to El Salvador. A three-judge panel for the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals rejected the administration's attempt to halt a district court order to bring Abrego Garcia home. Judge Harvey Wilkinson, who is a Reagan appointee, writing for the court, said this: "We shall not micromanage the efforts of a fine district judge attempting to implement the Supreme Court's recent decision. It is difficult in some cases to get to the very heart of the matter, but in this case, it is not hard at all. The government is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process that is the foundation of our constitutional order. Further, it claims in essence that because it has rid itself of custody, that there is nothing that can be done. This should be shocking not only to judges, but to the intuitive sense of liberty that Americans far removed from courthouses still hold dear." The ruling comes a day after Judge James Boasberg found probable cause to hold the administration in contempt over violations of his very orders to turn around planes carrying more individuals to the Gulag in El Salvador, where Abrego Garcia is being held. And after the administration released documents trying to detail their case against Abrego Garcia after weeks of pressure.
Will you take steps to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States and put him in front of a judge?
Well, I'm not involved in it. I'm going to respond by saying you'll have to speak to the lawyers, the DOJ. I've heard many things about him, and we'll have to find out what the truth is.
Not involved. That's new. The Trump administration thinks they think, folks, that they can make this case against Kilmar Abrego Garcia in the court of social media, but not before a judge. And I will remind you that Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution says the judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States, and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority. In a piece in The Nation, Janae Nelson, who's the president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, notes that we can defeat Trump's lawlessness, writing, "Most democracies don't die by gunfire. They die gradually, quietly, passively. A right revoked, a freedom restricted, a norm shattered, a collective silence. Before long, you look around and realize that the scaffolding of democracy has been dismantled in plain sight. It's why the rule of law must be protected at all costs. Encroachments on it are not mere policy disputes. They are the canaries in the coal mine, and today, those canaries are gasping for air." Janae Nelson joins me now. Also joining me is Congressman Robert Garcia of California. Janae, I want to start with you. You wrote those words in The Nation, and they shook me and they shocked me. Your take on what we have now heard from the Court of Appeals this evening?
Well, it's true. I mean, we've talked for a long time about the threat of this country spiraling into a descent of fascism and authoritarianism, and we're here. There's no question about it. We are on the march to ending our democracy. We're on the march to erase fundamental rights, not only of people who are not citizens of this country, but of citizens as well. And if we think that any one of us is protected, if we think that any one of us can escape the reach of the overreach of this administration, the lawlessness, the leaderlessness of this administration, we would be sadly mistaken. This is how democracies crumble. They don't typically blow up in an explosion. It happens incrementally. It happens when people are apathetic and they don't want to believe what their eyes tell them. It's happening. We are here.
Congressman, the impetus for the thing that I think has captured a lot of America's attention is, in fact, this disappearing, if you will, of people who have spoken out against the government and folks who the government says are criminals, but yet they have yet to provide evidence of the criminality. And in Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case, he is one of those folks. Also, there is a gentleman who is a makeup artist. His name is Andres. He is a California resident, and he is currently in that gulag in El Salvador. I know you and other members of Congress have talked about leading a group down there, a CODEL, if you will. I know today Congressman Mark Green, who is the House Homeland Security Committee chair, denied that any funds will be appropriated and given for that trip. Are Democrats still going to go down there? What do you know at this hour about the state of these, at least just the two men that we know about, who the government has yet to provide any evidence that they did anything wrong?
Thanks, Simone. First, I think it's really important, and I could not agree more with everything that's been said so far. It's really important to understand that we are at the beginning of a constitutional crisis. We have Donald Trump openly defying the Supreme Court and now additional courts, as we just heard. That is also unprecedented. It's one thing to appoint justices that we might disagree with, that we might oppose, but to then defy a Supreme Court order, which he's essentially doing, and in fact saying that what the court said actually supports what he's doing, which we heard Stephen Miller do in the Oval Office, is insane, and it should concern every single American. This is more than just about these illegal deportations, these unconstitutional abductions that are happening right now in our country. As it relates to what's happening in El Salvador and in Kilmar's case, he was sent there by mistake. And so there's a group of us in Congress that are going to El Salvador, and the CODELs have not been approved. We've gone through the process. Republicans refuse to allow Democrats to go, even though, by the way, they've approved CODELs for Republicans to go down there, as you've seen over the last few days and week, but yet they refuse to allow Democrats. Why is that? So we're going to go down to El Salvador, regardless of whether they approve a CODEL or not, because he deserves to have us fighting there, bringing attention, ensuring his safety, bringing him home, and the other people that are down there locked up that violates their rights. What happened to due process in this country? What happened to a court or a judicial process actually making these decisions? Donald Trump is not the king of the United States, and we've got to be very clear and oppose this as strongly as we can.